Back in August, my wife and I drove out to central New York to spend a little bit of time on the farm with my son, daughter-in-law, and grandson Theo. The rolling hills and blue skies were incredibly good for the soul. The fresh air outside as you walk the property and look for wildlife fills your lungs and propels you to a different place and time. Time where you felt good all the time. You didn't have achy knees and an achy back, and you had the energy to do whatever it was that you set your mind to do that day. Now, as I've been getting older, I seem to struggle more often with those things. Finding the energy, the inspiration, and the motivation to get out or get up and do the things that you love or once loved, or at least the things that make you happy, has become harder and harder, and I don't really know why that is. Sometimes I think you just need to accomplish one thing to break up the logjam and to get things flowing again, to kickstart some momentum and rekindle the fire that once drove you. And that's what this video is all about. Getting yourself out of a creative funk, it truly just takes one thing, one action. One accomplishment to put things back in motion. I'm definitely curious to know what you all do to get yourselves out of a funk or out of a rut. If you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments, I would really appreciate it. I do have something else I want to share, and I'll do that at the end of this video. But now I would like to share with you the images of this barn I found out near Morrisville, New York. I found it one afternoon when the light was not great, but there was a nice cloudy sky, so I stopped and shot a few images of it, and I'll show you those now. This was the very first image I took of this barn. I love the cloud formation and the rolling hills covered with summer corn, and how the yellow stripe of the road not only brings you right to the barn, but it was pretty darn close to the same color yellow that I was seeing in the field. I shot this one handheld with my 24-70 lens on my Nikon D850. I just love the square crop on this image as it keeps the viewer engaged with the barn and almost forces the eye to kind of ping pong back and forth between the grain silos and the barn. In post, I added a linear gradient filter to darken the clouds and give them a little more contrast and character. It was late in the afternoon, so you can see a little bluish tint on the metal roofs of the buildings, which I thought contrasted well against the warmth of the clouds and the field. What do you guys think? Now, I thought this one was going to be the very last picture, but you'll see in a second why it wasn't. I took this because I just love the nostalgia of it. The rustic structure in the foreground is kind of an introduction to this image, and then the viewer is grandly welcomed by the three doors of the surrounding buildings, and then you have the silos in the background, almost looking over everything in a parental fashion. The setting sun hitting the blue silo is the brightest part of this image, and my eye always ends up right there, which I think is pretty cool. While walking back to my car to head home, I saw this barn down the road with the setting sun and incredible sky behind it, so I had to shoot it. I'm going to show you two images of this one, and I would love to know which one you like better. They are very similar crops, but in one I'm going to show you more of the sky, as I feel that gives more of a sense of being there and more room to play, so to speak. The other one is more of a 16:9 crop to give you more of an expanse horizontally. As I look at them now, I like the one that shows more sky, but I'm really going back and forth on it. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Alright, I told you I had one other thing to share, and here it is. Sometimes when I'm in a creative funk and or lacking motivation, I look to others for inspiration. I will tell you that I do not watch too many other photography channels on YouTube. Mostly because then I start to compare myself to others, and that always leads to sucking the joy out of what I'm trying to do. But recently I did find a channel that I'm really enjoying, and quite honestly, this channel really inspired me and gave me the boost that I needed to get something accomplished, to break the logjam, to get out of the rut and the funk. And her name is Sarah Lindsay. She's a photographer in Canada, and I'll put a link to her channel above, but please go check out her channel. She has an amazing spirit and energy and strikes me as being authentic and genuine. I really think you guys will enjoy her channel as well as I am. And if you do, please drop her a comment and let her know your best friend, Double G, Garrick, sent you to her channel. That would be outstanding. So, hey everybody, that is it for this week. Next week, I've got some more coming from this amazing location in central New York. I actually went back to this barn the next morning, and I was greeted to some amazing fog that really just gave the whole environment an amazing and really cool atmosphere. So you'll be able to see the difference from the blue sky, late afternoon images to the early morning fog blanket images. So you'll have to see that next week. And so until then, I am Garrick, and I am your very best friend in the whole wide world. So hit that like, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe, and we will see you next time, folks. Bye bye, everybody.